does it mean to build a legacy on your own terms? I'm Tanya Hendricks, and this is Legacy Her Way, the podcast where we explore how women are creating powerful personal legacies through family, faith, business, community, and beyond. From foster moms to founders, creatives to caregivers, we go beyond the buzzwords and talk about real life, real impact, and the values that guide us all. Whether you're building wealth, raising kids, or launching your next big thing, this is the space for you. This episode is sponsored by Huntsville Estate Planning Lawyer, LLC, but we empower your vision and secure your future through estate planning trademarks. So let's talk legacy. Her way, your way, the way that matters most. Today's guest is someone whose journey embodies exactly that. Monica Montgomery is a Huntsville entrepreneur who founded MCM Services, your expert consultant for accelerating growth. And congratulations, Monica just celebrated 9 years in business. So that is incredible. Time flies. Monica started her career in the corporate world, but pivoted full-time in 2016. She is a published author with a book titled Raising Parents, which we're going to probably touch on today. Raising Parents, The Journey of Caregiving Amid Perilous Times. She's a board member for a Queenspreneur Plan, a mom to an Eagle Scout, which is quite the achievement that took a lot of hard work from him and from Monica. And she's currently planning a wedding. So this lady is inspirational in all that she has accomplished at such a young age. I have been inspired by her, motivated by her, and just in awe of everything that she does and accomplishes. So she has helped so many people grow their businesses, but also not just grow their businesses, but grow themselves. So her story is powerful, personal, and full of wisdom. So let's just dive right in. Welcome to the show, Monica.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity.
I'm so excited for you to join me today. So I've given a little bit of your bio, but let's talk about, or I want you to talk about your background information because it kind of ties in on what you've been doing with your life and your entrepreneurship. And I really want the audience to understand where you came from, where you're at, because this podcast is to inspire the everyday woman to go after their dreams and build whatever legacy they're trying to build. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, so I am a Huntsville native, and I started my business just as a hobby. My friend, she encouraged me to start my business because at the time, my first service was resume services because I have a background in technical writing. So I love doing the research and I love doing the analysis and putting all that information in a concise format so I can communicate with, those employers or those other business owners. I started out just doing resumes and I thought, no one's going to reach out to me for this. And she was like, we'll start the business. So I took a chance. I started the business and I was doing that part-time when I was working full-time. And I said, I would rather start it and it go nowhere than say I've never started at all. And as the years progressed, it started to grow. It went from just resume services to including my grant writing skills to get some of those fundings in schools and for small businesses. And since I was a business banker and a brokerage associate at a financial institution, being able to teach business owners how to prepare their business for funding, making sure they have the right foundational structure for the business to grow and to take them through those steps of how to expand, that really helped me increase my services in my business. So it was really good. My business started to grow, but I could not manage running my business part-time and working full-time as well. It became hectic. It got to a point where I didn't have a lot of time for myself. I was always up doing something for either my business or work, but not for me. So I took a chance. I always say take a well-calculated risk. I reviewed the numbers, ran the numbers, and I said it's time for me to invest in myself. It's time for me to take a risk. And that's what I did. I left my career of 11 years to spend more time and run my business full time. So that's the short version of the 9 years. I've enjoyed the emotional roller coaster, learning how to be strategically flexible, learning that no matter how much you prepare in your business, there'll be a change that comes around and you still need to adjust to that. So being in business full time has definitely been fulfilling. It's taught me a lot about myself and some of the obstacles I'm willing to take on to beat them, to overcome them.
Mhm. Very good. And you said something there, or actually two things there. One of them I wanted to touch on previous before we even talked. I saw a quote in a magazine. You were featured in a magazine in January of 2025. And one of the things that you mentioned there was that you take educated risks. And here you said calculated risks. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. What does that mean to you? But also, I think something that was very powerful that you said was you didn't want to regret. Like it's that power of not wanting to regret that you did not do something, that you were going to do it, because if you didn't, you would regret not even trying it. So let's talk about those two things a little bit.
Yes, so I'm a risk taker. I'm always like, you have to take a risk in order to enjoy life, because you don't know where life's going to take you. You don't know where your strength and where your perseverance is going to take you without taking a risk. So I always tell you, take a risk, enjoy life, do the things, expand out of your own comfort zone. But don't just take a risk just to flippantly take a risk. Make sure that you are running your numbers. Like my dad always taught me, run your numbers. If the numbers make sense, then do it. Take a look at how you'd be able to successfully get to the end or get to your results if you were to take this risk. So I always say, research the market, research what you're trying to get into, even if it's like for me, skydiving. I want to go skydiving so bad. That is a risk. But yeah, it was huge risk. I checked to make sure my life insurance was on me. Check my life insurance, my health insurance, and I wanted to do it at a time where it was celebrating and monumental. So I always tell people, especially in business, you have to take a risk in order for your business to get to the next level. So make sure you have ran the numbers financially. Make sure you've taken a look at your operations to see if you're able to take on an internal or external risk, and make sure that you have a team that can help you get through that. So just doing the research, just doing the analysis behind an action before you do it, because you want your actions to equal results.
Right.
And that sort of builds into not regretting. I want to do things in life that are fulfilling to my dreams. And my dreams are not just selfish. They're not just something I want to do just because I want to do it, but I do want to make an impact for the people I'm trying to help, for the community I'm trying to build. So that's why when it came to business, I said, okay, I have to do it. I have to do it because it kept coming in my mind. It kept bothering me. It was like a thorn in my flesh. It kept bothering me. So I wanted to take that risk. I wanted to step out on faith and test myself a little bit. Just do that case study on myself. Am I capable to manage the business? And so far it's been working, but I would rather say now, okay, I'm glad even if my business fails tomorrow, I have to close it. I would be glad that I actually ran the business instead of always questioning me, oh, could I have done that? Should I have done this? Because a lot of times we don't get into things because we're either afraid of failure or afraid of succeeding. And for me, it was the success, because if my business continues to grow and it does great, okay, well, what does that require of me? How much will I have to stretch my comfort zone? What will I have to do? How will I change to meet these levels of business? So a lot of times we let failure and success prevent us from taking that risk, to taking that chance. And so that's why I don't have any regrets right now. Life has been able to lead me to where I am right now.
Good. I think it's important that you pointed out that sometimes we fear success as much as we fear failure. So I think that's important for women in the audience to hear, because that we don't talk about that much, but it is there, because when you succeed, sometimes you have to put aside things from the past, or you have to step away from maybe people that you're familiar with or comfortable with, because they're not part of your success, and they're not going to be there. They're not championing you like you would expect them to. You would think that they would be happy for you, but a lot of people don't want you to succeed.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. They don't want to see you doing better than they are, or living up their dreams. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So when you were thinking about going full time into this business back in 2016, or at any point, was there a moment when you realized that you were building something lasting, or that Or were you intentional from the beginning that you were going to build something that was going to last, that was going to be a legacy for you?
Originally, I didn't see it as something that was going to be a legacy because I had this roadmap, this career path that I wanted to follow so bad. Ever since I was young, I always wanted to be an attorney, and I wanted to be an attorney for the Securities and Exchange Commission. That's why I went to school, I went to a lot of summer sessions to learn about law school and how to take the LSAT and trying to get in these study groups and applying to law school. And now, at the age that I am, I understand why I didn't get into law school. Back then, I was frustrated. I was angry. I was angry at myself and at, external factors. I said, just let me into law school. But I get that now. So, yeah, originally my business was just something for me to exercise my talent, exercise my skill in technical writing and strategy. But now that is in 9 years, I would say about 4 or 5 years ago, I realized I can make more of an impact helping business owners through my own business than I could working in a financial institution. Working in a financial institution, I was limited to how much resources, how much information I could give them, especially since we have such short time frames. It was like hour sessions to be in a bank. And I just felt that I was doing a disservice. I didn't like the fact I had to restrict myself in order to help them. So when I got to a point in business in my career where I sort of tapped out, I have to wait, at least another 5, 7 years before I can advance to the next position. I said, well, why should I have to wait? Instead of building a reputation for someone else, I can do that for my business and still be impactful to a greater audience than just in Madison County, Alabama. So that was, I feel that's the legacy I'm leaving now. I'm doing better, being a better source of good through my business than I was working for somebody else.
Wonderful. So now you realize, and I think you touched on this, but you realize that the reason that you didn't get into law school or go to law school was just for a bigger purpose?
Yes, for a bigger purpose. Now, it's still on my bucket list to go to law school. It can still be a reality, but I just haven't focused on it right now.
You have a lot going on right now. So what is something that you had to let go of in order to build a better future for you? And I'm thinking specifically about your experiences growing up. Some of the things you mentioned in your book, Raising Parents, your parents obviously had a tremendous impact on your life. And some of the things you pointed out was, just in one example is that both your parents had some health issues come up, and you talk about being some heart issues, and they immediately wanted some bad food. And you're like, come on. I think your quote was like, male. So we all have things when we grow up, our parents, we love our parents, and you obviously have some great parents, and I did too. But there are some things that we have to put aside and we have to kind of put behind us in order to build a better future. So what are some of those things that you had to let go in order to build a better future for you?
Two things. One, I'm a servant. I love servant leadership. That's my passion. I think that's one of the gifts that the Lord gave me is being a servant. So I don't mind helping. I'll help all day long. But I had to learn how to put boundaries on that. I had to give up my passion for helping others so much to where it was diminishing me. It was taken away from my strength. And so I had to learn that I couldn't always be a helping hand to others if I had been tough myself or I haven't taken self-care or refill my cup. So I did have to learn, okay, you can't, even though that's your passion, the Lord still gives you boundaries. He still allows you to say no. And that was the biggest thing, is learning that no is a sentence. You don't have to say no because of this, that, and the other. No, just say no. And that's what I've learned. Yeah, it's a whole sentence. That's actually my word for the year. No. And just leave it like that. So I did have to learn that don't let my passion, don't let my gift diminish me, because then I'm not of any use. And another thing is that I had to learn that I couldn't live my parents' life for them. They lived the life. What they were able to do, they were able to do. What they weren't, they weren't. And I couldn't keep altering my life just to make sure they still enjoy theirs. They
Yeah.
want me to live my own life too, without having to take care of them all the time. So they're still alive, they're still doing well, and I'm grateful for them. But I have definitely learned in the past 2 to 3 years that I can't live my life for them. I had to give up that passion that I had and just live my own life for me.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's kind of transition to, because you do write your book about your parents in that situation and have to take care of them. And I had a similar situation. I was the youngest child and my dad had health issues, and I was the one constantly helping and doing things. But tell us a little bit about your book, Raising Parents.
Yeah, I originally wrote this book, and throughout the years, I was writing my emotions and my thoughts and feelings as being a caregiver, and how you're just thrown into this role and you do not know what to do. You just realize, okay, I have to keep them happy, keep them healthy, get them to the doctor's appointments, what have you. So originally, it was just me writing down my feelings just to help me deal with it and get my thoughts onto paper. I was not going to publish it. I said, one day my family will find it and they'll read about it. That's it. I wasn't going to publish it, mainly because I didn't want people in my business.
Yeah.
I didn't want to share those vulnerable feelings and vulnerable thoughts about it. But after much prayer, I realized that this whole book is a testimony, because every trial, every sickness that my parents had, they overcame it. They were able to push through it. So
awesome.
The whole book is a testimony in itself, and caregivers don't have as much support as they need. A lot of times caregivers feel alone, they lose their identity. They're always on the go, and they put themselves in the back seat, and they don't ask for help. Caregivers do not ask for help. And if they do ask for help, they're very meticulous with it. They're very bossy with it. And so that was the main reason why I wanted to publish the book, is because I wanted to show other caregivers it's okay to be mad, sad. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to have joy. It's okay to have peace. And it's okay to live your life after your loved one passes. And I just wanted to build a connection, build a community with other caregivers, and show them you're not alone in the journey, even though we may feel like we're dealing with our situations and it's only specific to us and no one else would get it. I get it. I understand. You're not alone. So that was part of me publishing it. And I'm hoping that it connects with other caregivers to show them, hey, we see you, we love you, we support you.
Well, that's the legacy of in its own way. You're creating a legacy of your experience that's going to help other people. And so you've got, I don't consider we only have one legacy that we leave. I think we can have multiple legacies. I think this is one of yours, that you're able to help other caregivers. So I applaud you for that, and for wanting to be vulnerable, be willing to be vulnerable, to share your experience and your family's experiences so that others can learn. And it's also, as you said, a testimony to God that they come through miracle after miracle, medical situation after medical situation. That's incredible. So I've mentioned legacy. I've talked about legacy. What does legacy her way mean to you? When you hear that, what does it mean to you?
For me, it means that you are establishing your own legacy. You are establishing your own platform for your own initiative without following somebody else's framework, without following a cookie cutter, or just saying, let me do this just because, or let me do this, let me make some money out of it. And you're not greedy about it. That is not your motive, is to get some funds out of it, which, it's great to get paid for it, but that's not the goal of it. So legacy her way is making sure that you're leaving a pathway, not only for yourself, but you're trailblazing other people to come behind you and take advantage or take part of that platform that you've established to help uplift them as well. So it's not just, okay, Monica is doing this just for this time. I want to be generations from now. It's like, okay, we're doing A, B, and C because Monica led the way. She created a framework for this. So this legacy her way, just doing it when you're ready and not having to wait for anybody to tell you, okay, do it this way, or not have to wait till all your ducks are in a row. If you've got a duck, start and go with it. All the other ducks will fall in place.
That's awesome. Start with one duck and the other ducks fall in place. And then, you live that legacy, what you just described, because you were in the financial services industry. You had a comfy corporate job. You could earn a paycheck. And I think you talk about in your book how you were getting raises and things were going well. And then you decided to pivot, which society would say you're crazy.
Yes.
You had a son, you were raising a son, and having that corporate comfy job is what was expected of you. And you said, nope, this is my passion. This is what I want to do because I really feel like I have a bigger purpose. And so you pivoted and you did forge your own path. And so I applaud you for that. I mean, you're living that legacy that you just described. So that's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. Because, yeah, a lot of times that biweekly paycheck and those benefits, they sort of bound us. They bound us. And we don't want to step outside of that because that's comfort. We know that is coming. We know that it's stable, but you've got to take a chance. It's crazy until it works.
It is. It is crazy. It's crazy until it works, like you said.
Yeah.
So, what's one, and I know you work with a lot of businesses, you work with business owners to help them grow. For you, though, and maybe it's some advice you've offered others, what is one legacy building habit or mindset shift that you've had, or that you would recommend for anyone who's trying to start this path? So you're a trailblazer. You just talked about you wanted to be a trailblazer. You're a trailblazer. What is that one legacy building habit or mindset shift that you would recommend others maybe start with today?
Not to let society limit your dreams or limit your capabilities. You already have the capabilities in you to go to the highest level. So anytime I accomplish another year of business or make it through another quarter of my business, I always tell myself, like, okay, like, Lord, this is not it. I know you have something more for me because you said it in your word, you said it in my prayers. This is not the end. So I know what today is. I'm thankful for today, but I know this is not it. And with that mindset, I know I have to keep going to the next step, to the next goal. And society has a way of telling you that everything has to be done right now. You're supposed to be at a certain level right now. You're supposed to have this much money or have this storefront right now. But you don't have to have everything. Don't let society set your timeline. Don't let society overcrowd your mindset. Just continue to read, continue to connect with other people who are higher levels than you are. And also just have that mindset that where you are right now is not it. That's not the comfort zone. You have to get to the next level.
And I know we've got a few more minutes. I want to touch on something too that I noticed when you were approaching your 9-year anniversary. You started doing some videos about your failures. And one of the interesting things, and the reason I think about it right now is because of what you just mentioned. When you're giving your advice to the people to get started, is you have to recognize some things. And one of the failures you recognized was you're like, I got to build a business. I got to get involved with everything right now. Let me do all these networking groups. Let me do all these different things. And they weren't a fit. Speak about that a little bit, because I do think when we are trying to build a business, because society says you should be, you're starting here, but you really should be right here. I think we had that mindset of, I got to do this and this and this and this and this in order to make the money, in order to get my name out there. People need to know I exist. What is it that you saw, or that you could give some advice to someone starting out, saying, don't just join every single networking group out there. Do your own thing. What advice would you give?
Yes, because in business, you have to network. You have to network. Because if you don't, it's part of your marketing. People are not going to know who you are. And they tell you that getting into as many networking groups expands your brand messaging, expands your awareness, which is great. That, it's partially a good idea. But you want to make solid connections. And the only way you can make solid connections is to research and actually visit some of these networking groups before you become a member. That was one of my things. I was like, well, I know I've got a network. I have to be a part of a group. I've got to be social. Let me get this membership, that membership, what have you. But I realized it wasn't beneficial to me. And then I wasn't able to provide my service, provide my time into the group like I needed to. So visiting those different groups and actually seeing, okay, is this a good fit for business? Can I actually make connections in this group that will help build my business and help me get into rooms that I'm not in yet. And I think people get so caught up in the networking. I know I have to network, but a lot of times you can network to 100 people and they have nothing to do with your ideal customer base. They have nothing to do with your target audience. But if you actually hone into those specific groups where you can make strong connections, then yes, that'd be better because they will bring people to you that benefits your business. And those word of mouth referrals are really, really great. So that's something I had to go back and look. I've spent some money in different memberships. Well, I've made some investments and they weren't the best investment.
That's what I put it. Yes.
Well, I've learned to make better investments in the right groups for my business. So don't just go out there and get in every networking group you see or you're invited to. A lot of times it may not be the best fit for your business or for its growth.
Well, let's talk about your business because you do help businesses grow. So tell us about MCM Services.
Yes, so MCM Services is a business development company. I use strategic management and operations analysis to help small to mid-sized businesses grow to the next level. And that includes doing market research to make sure that their business is performing at the same rate the industry is and making sure that they're having enough revenue coming into their business to meet those financial projections. A lot of times people have good ideas for their business, they have a good service, they have a good product. They just don't know how to operate the business, which is fine. Everybody is not a good business operator, but helping those people who want to change their mindset to a CEO and a CEO mindset and make sure they're using the resources and the manpower and the systems to help build their business. That's what my business does. We want to get you to the next level. So we want to get you past the 1, 3, 5, 7 years of business. We're trying to get you to 10, 20, 30 years. And that's what we do. We're your consultant. We're a part of your team. And on your team, we make sure that we help your business for your financial goals, your operations goals, and your management goals too.
And I noticed that you have launched a new opportunity for people to work with you called Business Growth Potential. What is that? Now people can find out about that.
Yes, because having a consultant on your business can be pricey. And sometimes people are not ready for that price point or for that long range planning. Typically, I'm with my clients for at least 6 months, typically years to 2 years. And some people just need something right now for the business. They're still in the beginning stages. And I didn't want to neglect them. I still wanted to give them resources. So I found myself constantly giving them resources. Well, here, check this out. Well, these are links that I use for grant applications. This is a price strategy I think will work for you. And I was finding myself doing that a lot over and over again. So I already had an online system built in my business. I just wasn't promoting it. I just wasn't putting it out there. So I said, okay, this is an opportunity. Instead of trying to create a whole new thing, just go ahead and use the online platform that I have for those people who are trying to build to that next growth level or get those people prepared to work with me, to have me as their consultant. So that's the online platform. They still get access to the webinars I host. They still get access to the resources in order to obtain business funding for grants and business credit. They also get those partners that can help them with expanding their business credit. They get the resources. If they need a tailored answer, a specific answer for their grant application, they can get that on the online platform. They can also schedule a consultation with me as well. So they get all of these resources instead of me trying to send it to individual people all the time. It reduced my productivity as well, in addition to being a helpful resource for those people who may be starting out in business or maybe they've been in business for 2 or 3 years and they just want to learn how to improve their operations or their revenue. And that's what the Business Growth Potential platform is.
Well, I think that's an example of your servant's heart, that you're willing to just kind of give that over for people. I know there's a cost to be involved in it, but you're giving over a lot of valuable information for people. And so that's really speaks to your servant's heart with helping business owners. So very good.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, tell people how they can find you. If somebody wants to work with you personally, if they want to learn more about the Business Growth Potential, how do people find you?
So they can go to my website at mcmsrvcs.com and they can learn more about my services, also about the business growth potential. That is a subscription model, is only $35 per month, and you get access to all of those resources and a chance to talk with me. And the reason why I set that price is because I did market research. That market research is key, and that's something that's also the business growth potential platform. Did the market research to see consumer spending and how are they able to afford certain things and how subscription model on monthly basis is better for them right now until things change. So
Mhm.
they can find out more information about that on my website or on my Facebook page at MCM Services. I'm also on Instagram as MCM Services and also on YouTube. On YouTube, I've been putting some shorts on there as well. MCM SRBCS. So they can find me on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and my website, all at MCM Services.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. And you're in your branded colors. You're wearing yellow today. So as the audience is looking for your website or all of your socials, they'll see the yellow and know that it's you. So everything
Yes.
is the blue and the yellow. So you're on brand today.
Yes. I love being on brand.
Well, Monica, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited for the audience to hear your story and gain inspiration from you. The purpose of this podcast, I think I explained to you at one point, is I really want someone who maybe sees you in the grocery store line going, there's Monica. I heard her story. If she can do what she's accomplished, so can I. And I think you have been a tremendous inspiration to me. I know you've been to me, but also a tremendous inspiration to others. So I want to thank you so very much for joining me today. And I want to thank all of you for listening to Legacy Her Way. If today's conversation inspired you, moved you, or made you think differently about what legacy means, you're not alone. Believe me, Monica just incredible, incredible. So be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling generous, leave a review to help more women find inspiration for their own path to legacy. Until next time, keep boldly building, loving deeply, and living your legacy her way. Thank you.